Hi leaders, I'm Sherelle Whitney from Lift Performance Solutions, and this is one of 7 videos giving you 7 little tips, or what I call little lifts, in relation to staying connected during the coronavirus unprecedented challenging environment that we are all experiencing at the moment. So no matter what industry you're in, you'll find these 7 tips are very practical to you. They're simple tools that you can put into practice right away, and they allow you to create a connected environment with your team, with your stakeholders, with your customers, with your board, and with your colleagues, and with yourself. Because as leaders, we are the ones being looked to for clarity, for calm, and for courage. We need to continue to engage. We need to continue to be influencing the things that we can, and we need to get our energy from somewhere. So I'm hoping that Lift provides you with these free little lifts that help you stay connected with yourself, with your team. This is little lift tip number 5 in our connection series, and I want to talk to you this time about listening. Now, I know before you stop listening that every leadership program will tell you to listen. But what I want to say is, in relation to coronavirus and the anxiety, the adrenaline it creates, the uncertainty it creates, people do feel vulnerable. And it's important for us to listen more than ever, because the one skill that creates trust, creates connection, creates people feeling valued and respected in times of crisis, in times of uncertainty, in times of any kind of change, is listening. So if you're someone who is a doer and has got 15 things on your list, or these days probably 100 things on your list that need to be done, and you tend to half listen but half be doing things, typing on your computer, or it's obvious that you're distracted and thinking about something else, or you're trying to rush through the conversation, or you move to fixing quite quickly when they bring you an issue, you go, oh look, this is what you need to do, and off you go and implement that. If you're that kind of person, which most leaders are, just take a step back and start listening to what people are saying. Even if you're jumping ahead and you think you know what they're already going to say, please trust me when I say the great leaders are great listeners. And if you can listen in this challenging environment where people already feel uncertain, they already feel like maybe they're not getting heard, maybe there's information traveling around that they've missed out on, if you can make them feel heard and they feel listened to, then that's going to allow you to engage with them and influence their direction in the change process that they need to be a part of. So as my grandmother said, we've got one mouth and 2 ears. Definitely be listening to more than you're talking. Ask more questions to create more conversation that you can listen to rather than telling people, because often they're the ones that are actually going to have the answers, and if you're not listening, you might miss it. The other thing I'd say about listening is to restrict your listening, on the opposite end of the scale, to all the social media and TV stuff that's coming at us. Because as leaders, you need to stay healthy, and that means energetically healthy as well as physically healthy. And energetically, there's a lot of negative messages coming out through the TV right now about COVID-19, and social media has literally billions of messages. I think the figures were somewhere around 4 to 5 million messages on social media and TV in the 90s around the SARS epidemic. And now, in these few short weeks, we have had something like 3 billion, I think it is. Someone can correct me on the post here if I've got those figures wrong, but the gap of millions to billions is absolutely accurate. And that's happened because, we have so many different platforms now. And of course, Facebook is a giant mechanism for creating communication. And sometimes it's very positive and it's an awesome power for change. And other times, like now, those kind of giant conduits for messages, billions at a time, can just overwhelm us, sometimes with facts, but sometimes, more often than not, with fiction and with a lot of things that create fear. So as a leader, we need to keep our emotional hygiene high. And so I would strongly suggest to you that you pick out a couple of media platforms or conduits that you keep in touch with for your facts, and the rest of it, turn it off. Limit your exposure to it, because it really does decrease your energy. And then you want to be able to take positive, fresh, clean energy into your teams while you're leading in this challenging environment. You can't do that if you've watched the last 10 media articles on TV and you've scanned Facebook for 4 hours and everything is telling you messages about, coronavirus. So look after your energy levels by listening less to that stuff and listening more to your team, and creating an environment where at work you are open to different things that might be new ideas, new ways of seeing things, and allowing your team to engage with you in a listening space. Thank you for listening to that little lift on how to connect. I hope that that's been useful for you and you've jotted down some practical ways that you can take that tool and skill back into your workplace. I also hope that you'll take it back to your family, your friends, and also into your community, because our work at Lift is not only about lifting leaders to be successful at work, but also lifting you to lead at home and in your communities so that you are living and leading your bravest life in all those areas. And the last thing I'd like to say to you is, if you haven't already been to our website and downloaded our free Courage to Create Connection ebook, I wrote that over the Christmas break in 2019. I've given you the 10 top best connection tips that I've got for leaders that I know work, in a lot more detail than I could give you here in this video. So please download that. It's completely free. There's no catch. I just want you to have that resource at in your toolkit so that you can use it whenever you need to create connection, which is the #1 thing that great leaders do well. Great, thank you. Stay connected with Lift. I look forward to you watching another little lift soon.